Peace and blessings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Mind, Body, Energy, and Balance podcast. I am your host, obviously, Samut, also known as Mama Yoga, and I have my producer extraordinaire and reluctant co-host, Flaw 700. What's up, Flaw?
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Yeah.
Podcast world.
Yeah. So, we got a few things we want to talk about this week, and we'll do our recap as usual. But let me start, as we always do, and open our podcast giving praise and honor to our beneficent ancestors upon whose shoulders that we stand. Their ingenuity, their wisdom, their livelihood, their complete understanding of cosmogony and holistic systems of how to live their life. Let us embrace that. Let us awaken that within us. And let this podcast, this show, this chat infuse and be vital to all those who may hear it. Ashe, peace and love. For sure. Mm-hmm. So we had a energetic chat last week. I would like to see more of the health. We probably gonna have to talk more about the health aspects
Mhm.
of our show last week. So you want to give us a total recap though?
Yeah, total a recap was it was very, in a sense where you want to pull the audience in. There was a lot of topics that I think would pull the audience in. I think we did
Mm-hmm.
a good job on creating conversation. This is what podcast honestly is for, is to
Mm-hmm.
create conversation.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of other podcasts, they just, create just they just say anything to create content, and it's not authentic. I think what
Mm-hmm.
we do here is pretty authentic, and it brings the people in. The reels are
Right.
on a high.
Mm-hmm.
Every week we get more and more shares and more views. Like we're getting thousands of views. And in return, that trickles down to the YouTube videos because people want to see more. So we actually
Yeah.
the most views so far on YouTube as well, just
Mm-hmm.
because of the authenticness of what we're talking about, and it's talking to the people. So when you say let's do more health, let's do more, all of that is definitely what's going to skyrocket this podcast to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Health conversation because people want to know. Everybody is googling foods,
Mm-hmm.
health, exercise, healthy living. Like these are things
Mm-hmm.
that people are actually searching for, believe it or not. And this podcast is one of those ones that you need to latch on now because
Yeah.
it's going to be this podcast, even though it's not a series,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be one of them podcasts that if you don't latch on to it now, you're going to be behind.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want to go back and say, what did I miss?
Mm-hmm. Give thanks.
Yeah.
Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. We praise and very, very thankful, filled with gratitude for the message on my heart and the capacity to share it with as many people as God would send my way. Because I truly believe that, unlike the perspective that most people have out in the digital world, I'm not trying to talk to everybody.
Hmm.
You really have to be grateful and respectful of your gift, your talents, and what you contribute to the world. And I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I ain't looking for everybody, but I am very, very interested in shining that unk signal in the sky, of those people who will come and I can serve. Those people, God, the ancestors, send my way that I can share this message of empowerment, of healing, of balancing the mind, body, and energy. So I'm with you, Flaw. We're going to use more topics. If something happens in the celebrity, weird world that is relevant to helping us understanding how to balance our mind, body, and energy, and relevant from that perspective, then I'll share that because it's relevant. But
Yeah.
this is not a gossip channel, honey. This is not a gossip podcast. That we don't. What is happening in that world is really not my business.
And one thing, if you're everybody's cup of tea,
That's
you're
right.
nobody's cup of tea.
Yep. You just sitting on the shelf.
Remember that. You're everybody's choice. You're nobody's choice.
Right. That's like, a chick her whole life, she been with all these dudes. It's not likely that she's going to be chosen or have the opportunity to be wifed up. you
Mhm.
know so
Makes
it's
it
the same
harder.
kind of
Makes it
thing.
harder. Harder. You don't want to hear that, but it does make it harder.
Yeah, it makes it harder. So yeah, we're thankful. We're thankful. One of the things we wanted to talk about today is I was listening to one of the podcasts I listened to, and a lot of the stuff that I like to listen to for my own benefit may seem off brand to people. It
Mhm.
may seem like, Mama Yoga, I didn't know you was into that, or you would. But I've often said that I am so blessed in my capacity to see God everywhere. Like I can see God everywhere. So it doesn't matter to me. I can, as they say in the South, chew the meat and spit out the bone, even though I don't eat meat, but y'all know what I'm saying. So I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, the Dave Ramsey Show, and he has this program, and he had on, it's not his debt scream thing, it's entree leadership, where he's using his brand and his style of teaching and coaching to help people become better entrepreneurs, right? So he had a guest on, and I'm sorry I don't have the gentleman's name. I could look it up here. I should have wrote it down, but I didn't. Anyway, he had a guest on that wrote a book called Hustle Like an Immigrant or something like that. And it's talking about how immigrant communities are coming to America or have come to the United States and are really like killing the entrepreneur game. Like they are, I think the stats were in the United States the last 2 years, 28% of the businesses, successful businesses, were started by immigrant communities, right? And one of the things that he talked about was one of the main differences is a position of gratitude and not taking the opportunities here in the United States for granted. Coming from countries where oftentimes they can't even, whatever money you earn is communal, so you don't get to, you have to give all what you earn into a pot, and then you're doled out by the administrators or the leaders of the country or whatever. You can't start a business in some of these countries. Like it's not possible. You have to do what the government says that you have to do. So these people come to the United States and they are in such a fever of acceptance and gratitude for the opportunity to go from zero to multimillionaire in a lifetime. They do not feel entitled. They feel grateful. And I think that spoke to me very strongly because that is an issue within American society, period. It's a whole lot of entitlement, but specifically African Americans. Y'all can feel how you want to feel, but if you just take a moment and observe, you'll see what I mean. Right? Part of the reason why we are not progressing on the whole, let me back that up because we got some fabulous ass African American black folks born in America that's doing the darn thing,
Mhm.
and it just so happens that the ones making the noise and the people that the media want to completely or consistently use to show us in a negative light, they make those louder, right? They make those people, they put them in front of our face a lot more. But the truth of the matter is, the majority of our people in this country are doing okay. It's just disproportionate to the majority of other people, right? Other communities in the United States where we may have 80% crime rate, they may have 10. So that's the one of the biggest differences. But what I still see amongst those of Black people in this country is a sense of entitlement and a sense of, if you will, victimhood. Come on here, Mama Yoga. What you talking about, child? I'm playing with this head wrap because it keeps sliding down. This reality podcasting, y'all. If it's crooked, don't worry about it. Remember how the brothers used to wear their fedoras on the side? That's how my headdress gonna be today. It's just gonna be off to the side. Don't
It
worry
looks
about
straight though.
it. Huh?
It looks straight though.
Okay, it's good. It's me then. Victimhood. What do you mean by that, Mama Yoga? We're not victims. When you are standing in the space that somebody owes you, that handicaps your psychological and indeed physical, your mind body energy capacity to produce, to move forward, to exact what it is you want from all of the resources that you have around you. Well, what you mean? Okay, so we are Black folks in America, those of us that have been here, foundational African Americans, foundational Black people that have been in this country through the enslavement, through the capture of our people, the forced labor, the forced work, and no compensation. There is a subconscious seed of, well, y'all owe me. You owe me. Like, and I'm a victim and I'm entitled to all the shit because you owe me. When you stand in that space, it's it's much harder from a psychic level, from a spiritual level, from indeed a physical level to move out and accomplish, because subconsciously you are standing in a space of entitlement and victimhood, whether you really believe it or can feel it or not. You know, that's how people go on generational public assistance. There's the will and the energy to strive and be successful is dampened, is harmed, is cut off at the knees by that kind of give out. Public assistance is for when you need it. I don't know nobody who hasn't not had a period in their life where they needed assistance from the government. That's what the government is there for. But generations, your mama, your children, your children's children, your baby dad, his mama, that's not what it's about. So when I heard this man saying the immigrant communities come here with a feverish focus of gratitude and, intention to burn up these entrepreneurial streets, because where they came from, they had none of that. It reflected in my spirit an understanding of, yeah, like our community is a sense of entitlement or a sense of burdenous victimhood. Now, I'm not saying this government, these corporations, they don't owe us. Yes, they do. In fact, the reports are that they owe us something like 17 trillion with a T dollars from all of, the free labor, not just the free labor, but the redlining, the marginalizing, the, gang up to keep our people, Africans born in America, to keep us from prospering. There's a gang up. Let's not even get it twisted. There is a gang up, right? And the fact of what the corporations over the last 400 years have made in profit and passed on to their generations and their families. And it's corporations that's still running to this day that benefited from the free labor and the horrors of our people being captured. Those are realities that we need to have an understanding about. But what my suggestion is that we switch the entitlement and the victimhood perspective to, yeah, let me get out here and get this. Let me get out here and get these streets. Let me get out here and entrepreneur. Oh, that's available. That's available. That's available. And that's available. Let me get it all. Instead of, staying in the space of, well, it's hard for me. Nobody's trying to help me, and they should just be giving us hundreds of thousands of dollars to do what we want to do because they owe us. Yes, they owe us. Yes, they should pay their debt. Yes, they should repair the damage, the economical, the social, and the conscious psychological damage to our community. But we cannot rest on that. We cannot wait for that. We cannot stay and be in a space of entitlement and victimhood. We must pick up our shoes en masse, pick up our feet en masse, and get out here and hustle it up. Hustle like an immigrant. We are, in fact, the only people who did not immigrate to the United States. We didn't immigrate here. We were, for the most part, because there's now a whole talk and debate about, that we were here already, and yeah, okay, I get that. Probably there were an Afroid population, right? An African population on this continent. We spread all over. Everywhere is dark or melanated people, I should say. Right? I get that. But historically, there is the transatlantic slave trade, where many of our people were first taken to the Caribbean, put on the plantations there, sugar, whatever, broken, spirit broken, and then shipped to America, United States, through Virginia, the Carolinas, and the coastal states, and then filtered out up through Texas and everywhere else, right? We cannot deny that. That's the truth, right? And the brothers and sisters that are, really out here doing well and starting businesses at a huge and alarming clip, they are not standing in, well, they owe us. Well, so they owe us. And, we look what they did to our people. We can't do nothing. That's even more reason why you got to hustle it up. Right? They are doing it. We can name so many brothers and sisters that are prevalent, that are really showing their spiritual and their business, acumen out here creating entrepreneurship and taking advantage of every opportunity and not laying in, well, they owe us and they should pay us. Yeah. So hustle like an immigrant. I love that. Immigrant communities from all corners of the world come to the United States, and they start, as I said earlier, all kinds of businesses. One of the other differences in Black Americans or foundational Americans, have foundational Black Americans, all right, those of us that's been here a long time, is, the onslaught and the attack of our family structures and the dissolution of the cohesiveness that contributes to success and wealth and, building family wealth, individual wealth, personal wealth, and family and generational wealth. People from other countries that come here, immigrant communities, come here pretty much with that intact. Their men were not taken and made at these breeder farms where, you got a bag over your head, you and the female are in a room and both of y'all have bags over your head and you don't know you made to have sex, but you don't know you screwing your mom. This is a DNA disruption. Talk about mind, body, energy being out of balance. This is the history the psychological DNA implanted, DNA destructed history of foundational Black Americans. So it's not a wonder when our men are like, I'm just going to run these hoes down. You know, in addition to the onslaught of media and society saying, you a simp if you love and care for a woman. What you doing caring about a woman? You ain't supposed to care for her. You're supposed to just get what you could get, make her submit, and that's that. This is destruction from a planned, disintegration and annihilation of a people. Because the immigrant communities stick together. They work together because they know that mightier is the unit as opposed to the separate. They work together. They come here and they corral, they make up their, plan. We're going to come here, 20 of us going to live in this 2-bedroom apartment, and we all going to work for $8.17. I don't even know what the hell the minimum wage is.
Wage, right?
We all going to work there like that. We're going to contribute to a pot. We're going to take care of where we living at. And eventually, we each going to buy a property. We each going to buy a grocery store. We each going to buy whatever. So these are the things that I wanted to call to our attention. Yes, they owe us, I know, but we can't rest on that. You cannot. You got to pick yourself up and do what you can do. You just do. It's okay that other communities come and do well. The other thing I want us to stop doing is comparing us to other people. Ain't a people in the world like foundational Black Americans. We ain't like the Jewish people. We ain't like the Asian people. We're not like, even Africans, African born people come here with a certain intactness that we do not have, that's been broken in foundational Black Americans.
But so you're saying, real quick, you're saying that, because the typical conversation is always, hey, look at what the Jews are doing, or look at what this community is doing.
That's and they
compare us to everyone else. And, it kind of just leads to a brick wall, because that's just the end of the conversation. Hey, look at what they're doing. Why can't you do that? And then that's it.
Right. Well, yeah, it is a brick wall. And I say we can look at these other communities only in the sense of, if they can do it, we can do it, right? We are, like that in that way. But those communities don't have the obstructions that we have. So yes, we can do it, but I think a little we have to find what works for us. We have to find, our flow. And many of us are doing it more than are out here that's tearing up and destroying. Like they said, the bad apple, so to speak, the people who, whose DNA has really gone really, really out of balance, and think that they have to kill one another, kill people who look like you, rob from people who look like you, and the lot of, challenging and hard circumstances. It's so many more of us that's really doing well and creating these businesses and not resting on the victimhood and the entitlement. So we can turn an eye to other communities and say, okay, yeah, all right, I see what y'all doing. I see y'all. But then we have to find our own flow. We cannot, like you say, hit the brick wall. We got to find our own flow and stay in our own flow and grow in our own flow. I'm sorry, was you about to say something else?
No, I just said,
Yeah. So yeah, the other communities, they come here, they hustle it up, they have an agreement amongst themselves of what is going to happen. And like, remember last week we talked about the agreement of, when you're a part of a group. I don't think it was last episode, maybe 2 episodes back or so. We talked about being a part of a particular group and the agreements that you have within the group that make everything successful, and the consequences when you behave a certain way outside of what the rules are to that group, right? Well, our community, we need to understand and find a different flow, because first, there's a trust issue which has been inbred in us. It wasn't naturally there, just like any other people. You come together with those who look like you, those who have the same vibe as you. Vibration is relevant and important. Symbiotic energy is relevant and important. And, you build based on the trust and the, understanding one to the other. But in our community, Foundation Black Americans, we have, an inbred, consistently stoked fire of mistrust and misunderstanding, and we're quick, unfortunately, to be like, oh, you cannot make no mistake. You cannot do any error, because we are so already alerted to, I don't think I should trust you. I mean, look, you look just like me. Why should I trust you? I don't trust me. Why should I trust you? You know? So we have to find our flow. It's good to look at other communities, take a look, say, okay, they got theirs. Right? And the first direction towards that, from my perspective, is to begin to function from gratitude as opposed to entitlement and victimhood. We got the best passport in the world. Everybody trying to get this passport, right? I'm not saying we don't have a complicated, often hurtful relationship with this soil, with the government that runs this particular part of the world, and the agencies and the nefarious, insidious, intentional destruction of our communities and our people. But we here, and it's a lot of things to take advantage of being here.
Absolutely.
People say, oh, you might as well go back to wherever. No. Our family line, the Womack family line, has been traced back to 1845. This is my land. We got blood, sweat, and tears, bones buried all up and down the 95. This is we have built this space. Not saying we don't have connection to, another place, but this is our space. This is our land. We built it here. So to begin to function from a space of gratitude, and the gratitude then opens your vibration, your energy, your understanding, and the flow of grace to begin to show opportunities. Entitlement and victimhood creates, as my dear Flaw said, the brick wall.
Mm-hmm. I said that.
You did. That was a bar. It creates the brick wall. You're not entitled. Yes. There's there's a debt, but we can't rest on the debt. Got to get up and get it going. And gratitude opens up all of the possibilities. So what the Spanish guy was saying about hustle like an immigrant is that, from what he perceives, is most of the immigrant community that he's in touch with, they all function. They're so grateful to be here and taking advantage of the resources that are here, right? Now, another thing I want to touch on before I move on to the next topic, or is every benefit that everybody else gets coming to this country is on the backs of foundational Black Americans. every benefit. There was segregation even with the Jewish community because they were not Anglican. They were not allowed to participate in certain aspects, especially in the South. Even, I don't care where you come from, our people, foundational Black people, fought to change first how we were being treated, which then allowed everybody else to receive whatever benefits that they are getting. But we still behind the eight ball, us, because there again is an intentional, onslaught to keep us in a certain space. So yes, come enjoy the benefits, but don't come up to me talking about it's a free country.
Mhm.
Because if it is free, it's free because our people fought to have it that way. Every benefit that you enjoy coming to this country is on the backs of our ancestors. And that is just the truth. You can like it or not, it's just the truth. So our thing, foundational Black Americans, is to find the gratitude, find the space of gratitude, and do our best. It could be a big ask. It's a big ask for people who are not trying to uplift their consciousness and trying to, improve their understanding of universal flow and life. Because the focus of that type of person is, well, look how they still beating us down. Well, look how, excuse me, look how, they owe, look how much they owe us. Look what they're doing to us. Look at this, look at that. Every other day, somebody shooting a Black man or, hurting a Black woman. Why, how can I focus on being grateful for being here? It's a strong spirit for sure. The focus shifts. And so when we focus more into gratitude, not being grateful for being attacked and slaughtered, but being grateful for all of the other opportunities that can help lift a majority of us out of, you know, the
Absolutely.
hardships that we experience. Go ahead, Flo.
No, I was saying absolutely. It's
Mhm.
just, dealing with public. It's a thin line, a very
Mhm.
sharp sword as to what you're saying. Like I know what you're saying,
Mhm.
there's some gratitude somewhere.
Mhm.
Last few years, we've kind of held our head. I just say we as a people, not saying you,
Mhm.
but we held our head on the tragedies, saying, "Hey,
Mhm.
look at what they're doing to us. What are we going to do? And we're going to march and we're going to do this and do that." And I get it. There's a lot of
Mhm.
things that I refuse to watch because I
Mhm.
don't want it inside of my head. But
Mhm.
you still have to understand that
Right.
you still have the opportunity to make a difference either way, and it doesn't have to be attached to those situations. Be
Mhm.
aware that things are still going on.
Mhm.
That's the beauty and the ugly. We are
Mhm.
aware, but that does not stop us from being the best that we can be, from being all that we can be.
Mhm.
You're talking about this topic, you already know what type of time I'm on. I
Mhm.
fired my job not
Mhm.
because of anything else, but for the fact that it's not going to give my spirit what I think it deserves as I
Mhm.
go into the latter years of my life.
Right.
I'll be 40
Right.
in a few days, and you got to
Right.
sit back and go, well, that comfortability, right?
Mhm.
Get a job, get a job. Go to college, go to college, go to college. Get a job, get a job, get a job.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, like you said, there's immigrants coming around, coming over here, and they're doing it in a way under our noses.
Mhm.
And then, and once again, it's that excuse, and I got to bring it up. It's, well, they don't got to pay taxes. They don't, like, we always want to talk about the benefits
Mhm.
of someone else instead of looking at the benefits that we have.
Mhm.
All we want to do is focus on our shortcomings.
Yep.
Talk about everyone's else long comings, if that's a
Mhm.
term. Just wanted to play on words. So
Mhm.
at the end of the day, yes, there are some of us who been here since we've been born, and we're starting to get it, and no excuses shall be made.
Yep.
And I think that's the mentality that we need to take on. But unfortunately,
Mhm.
most of us are waiting for someone to do something for us. So
That's right. That's right.
you can
That's
Carry
right.
on, Mario. Carry on.
Yeah, no, it is a, we've been for too many foundational Black Americans, we've been relegated to the status of baby, the status of boy and girl. You need somebody else to come and take care of you. You need somebody else to give you, your food, clothing, and shelter. The person who supplies your food, clothing, and shelter, is the person who owns your life. That's just the reality. You don't have autonomy. And the reality of it is, too, immigrant communities come and they have all of their support systems in place. And even if they don't, if your family back in some country put all of their resources together and sent you to a place, that the fact that you got all those people relying on you, and you come from such, a solid family communal structure, you're going to get here and do your damnedest. You're going to work 3 jobs, 4 jobs, and then send for each one. That completely is blunted within us. It's very challenging for us to work together on any scale, let alone that level of scale.
I don't, even when I was working, there was
Mm-hmm.
a time when I would have to go to check cashing places to cash my
Mm-hmm.
check. And let me tell you,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of immigrants they're there to not only cash their check, but to possibly send half of it, if not most of it, back
That's
to where
right.
they're from.
That's
And
right.
then continue on with their American lives. And here,
Yep.
Americans go, well, what I'm supposed to do with this whole check that
Right.
you don't got to send back to your country? Like, what is this monies that's in this check that you're
Mm-hmm.
probably making? Let's be honest, you're probably making more than the immigrant. They probably
Mm-hmm.
took pennies on the dollar,
Mm-hmm.
or you're probably making more per hour, but they're working longer hours and working harder.
Yep.
Let's take us. Let's take a what is it called? It's not like a store, basically, like a little gas station, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go to work for your 8, 10 hours, and they're there every day.
Yep.
You say your job is close to where you live and you want to go back to that store after your working hours. Here it is,
Mm-hmm.
10 p.m. Guess who's still there? The guys that opened the shop at 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
right.
they work all day. It's the same people.
Mm-hmm.
The same people. One time, a few years back, um, I was to see the same immigrant group of two guys every day.
Mm-hmm.
Till I didn't see them no more. It was two new groups. They just switched
Mm-hmm.
them out. They switched
Yep.
wherever the other two went, they went. Maybe a different store, maybe another position, but your time, however long their time was there, they served it, and now they're going to do something else.
That's right.
Like I said, they'll take that check and go to Western Union,
Mm-hmm.
cash that check, and send half or if not most of it off to their families and go about their lives as if nothing is wrong. Meanwhile, we have our full check and we're looking at it like this. It's not going to work.
Right. This ain't gonna work. Well, the reality, the statistics show that the majority of people, the 7 billion people on the planet, 99.9% of the 7 billion people on the planet live on less than $1 a day. So the statistics came out, I think, by the WHO organization and some other international conglomerates trying to, compiling all this data to see who exactly the 1% is. So the reality of it is that living in America, having income in America, we are already a part of the 1% living on, substantial income. It's the mindset and the consciousness that is the issue, particularly for us foundational Black Americans. So to balance it out, my suggestion is, that we, begin, find some people who you can trust and you can work with, and you can build a level of trust. And it does not have to be a whole bunch of people. We started out talking about not being everybody's cup of tea. You know, in our family, I started a wealth group. It's probably only going to be one or two of us out of the 40 people in the chat that's going to actually put resources together, that's going to actually come together and read about how to build generational wealth and actually you know, uh, bring forth those precepts. It's not easy. It's easier to be like, let me just lay down and, sit down and watch TV or Netflix and chill or be on my phone. It's easier. It takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of humility and intention, and for something greater, a love for something greater than yourself, like your own selfish pursuits, to really try to come together with somebody. But I suggest you do that. Find somebody that you can build a level of trust with, and then y'all take your time, like water dripping on a rock, and build that trust and work with each other and do the best you can. You can't all trip out about, things, the first little thing that go wrong. The position is, okay, let's make sure we have an understanding. Let's not leave anything to our own imaginations. Let's sit down. Let's have a talk. Let me make sure I understand what you meant to do. Let me make sure you understand what I meant to do, and let's work it out. That has to be our forward, non negotiable movement. How can we work it out? How can we work it out? Because we got to work it out, And, you and whoever you find that you can build a level of trust with, position of gratitude, not of victimhood or entitlement. Gratitude. I'm grateful. We're not even going to look at, we understand the problems, but let's focus on what we can do and do it one step at a time, to the best of our ability, with the irrevocable understanding that what comes what may, we're going to not go through a third party or let anybody else tell us what the other one thinks. We are going to come together and see how to work out what we need to work out. And that is, how we can quote unquote hustle like we immigrants, you know. So it's all good. They're here, they're doing what they're supposed to do, working together, getting their success, and taking care of their families and building family and generational wealth. We have our own different dynamics and circumstances that we have to work around. I heard Darius Daniels, a pastor, say, you can be successful with how you are. You just got to figure out your flow. And we're doing it. There's people in Atlanta building tiny home communities, cottages. It's like literally thousands of businesses and cooperatives and collectives that foundational Black Americans are building. The media is showing us the ones drinking and fighting and whatever else. But really, it's literally thousands of us that's
And I'll
doing it.
and I'll be honest, and it's just some thoughts that I've been having. So you're
Mm-hmm.
spot on. Two things, right? We go to work and we do whatever our boss tells us to do, whether we want to do it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And we tend to kind of take off when we get home because why, we just got finished doing something for 8 to 10 hours we didn't want to do. And then we're going to give nobody else that privilege, which leads to issues within the house with your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Spouse might have a request, but guess who's not going to oblige you?
Mm-hmm.
I just got finished doing something for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
For me, my thinking process is when we're out here starting our own businesses and we're doing what we want to do, it's a trickle down effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're still going to stress because of the pressure. It's now all on you. Stress is
Mhm.
going to go nowhere, but it's how you deal with the stress. And stress is also can be your friend. That's just my opinion.
Mhm.
Stress can be your best friend.
Mhm.
But when you are running your own businesses, when you're, creating the wealth, it trickles down to now your partner,
Mhm.
to your friends, um,
Yep.
because your freedom is priceless.
Yep.
The work that you're not overworking yourself. I mean, you
Mhm.
can, but it's a difference between somebody else overworking you and you overworking yourself. There's been plenty of times where I've looked at the clock and saw it's 10 p.m. Jarrell, get off
Mhm.
the computer, relax.
Mhm.
That's not
Mhm.
stress. That's not my boss saying you can't leave.
Right.
Job is done. Those are two different overworking, yourself. So
Mhm.
um you have to find time for, I'm just going to say it, find time for yourself.
Yep.
This podcast is not about leaving your job and go hustle like an immigrant somewhere else.
Nope.
But if you're going to work, find time. If you can find time
Mm-hmm.
for your employer, you can find time for yourself
Yeah.
and start to build, get with like-minded people, and you'll
Mm-hmm.
see that once you let go of what's been holding you down, even though it pays the bills, it's just a huge trickle down effect to overall happiness and joy that you can now share with your family. A lot of us are miserable.
Yep.
We at work at a job. I think
Mm-hmm.
we talked about this last week or the week before.
Mm-hmm.
Work at a job that you really don't want to be at, but it pays the bills. And
Well, the pushback on that, I mean, I hear what you're saying. Did we lose your mic?
no, I'm here.
Oh, okay. So I just want to push back on that a little bit. Immigrant communities don't give a damn about their personal time. They are
Mhm.
working whether they like the job or not. It has nothing to do with them liking the job. It has to do with the vision. So they will not give up no anchor income. They're not going to give up no income,
Well, here's
you
the
know?
difference. Here's the
Yeah.
difference between them and
Mm,
like you hit on it. I just
yeah.
simplify things.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
It's
good.
their structure. It's their structure.
That's
So
right.
when they're out there working, their
Absolutely.
mom is still home raising all the children.
That's
So what
right.
I'm saying for us,
Mm-hmm.
both partners are working.
Yep.
Kids are at school and at the after school program. You barely see them.
That's right.
Both everybody's frustrated. Who's cooking? Who's cleaning? So our
That's right.
structure is off. You said it. I'm just saying, because we are how we are.
Yep.
How do we fix it?
Yep. We got to
We can't.
find.
Yeah,
Yep.
we can't fix. We can't. I can't just tell the missus
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to work no more. You can just be. She might not want to do that.
Right. She might not.
She might not want to do that. She might got entrepreneur uh goals herself.
Right.
So now we got to figure that out. But the immigrants they do come over here.
Mm-hmm.
Typically somebody's home with the children
That's
raising.
right. That's
Wow,
right.
somebody else is out all hours out the day, and they
Mm-hmm.
come home to make
Mm-hmm.
some food, a
Mm-hmm.
good time, like you said, because they're not stressed about their job.
Mm-hmm.
Always music playing.
Yeah.
There's always music. Those other coaches, there's always music playing. There's always a
Right.
good time. They
Right.
pull up with their little work truck. They keep their dirty clothes on. And they
Right.
just party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you did simplify it. I appreciate that, and the bottom line is we got to find our flow.
Yep.
We have to create, we don't have organic structure like we used to, rounding out this talk here. That is why the grandmothers, the families, everybody lived in the same house because while you were out working, the grandparents would care for the children or the aunties or whatever. We have to now create support structures so that we can do what we need to do. And being the most fabulous, DNA created, we're going to find our flow. We already finding our flow. A few years back, the United States Secretary of Commerce said that the economy was being kept afloat by the businesses started by African American women. Foundational Black American women. And now we see foundational Black American men really coming up as well. So we're doing it. We find our flow. I'm just, sounding the horn
Hmm.
and saying, switch your attention to gratitude. Like you said, Flaw, put your support systems in place, even if you have to create them. Find who you can build trust with and find who you can create a circle of love, a circle of abundance, a circle of prosperity for you and your family, even if you have to create that and work with who can work with you, who you can build that trust with, you know. But we'll be all right. We already all right. We just need, to keep our eye on the focus. And what's due us will come. That's just universal law. But we can't be focused on it and whining about it and being held into little boy, little girl trap. That's what I wanted to share. Mm-hmm. So I hope that's helpful for everyone. Flaw, any last words or
Absolutely. It's
closing remarks?
helpful for everyone. Absolutely, it is. I just want to let everybody know It's week 4, the 24-hour fast. What time is it? I'm still. Snow Thang, I advise you not to jump into just 24-hour fast. Work your
Mhm.
way into it. I've been fasting for years.
Mhm.
And as far as this episode, please check it out, listen to it, share it with your friends. These are the type of conversations we need as a people. Right?
Mhm.
I'll be honest and say that every session here, I feel like I'm a better person afterwards. This is
Oh.
therapeutic. Um,
Mhm.
it's a level of understanding. There's a lot of things happening in the world, and sometimes you just need somebody to simplify it for you. And that's all a therapist does.
Mhm.
You tell a therapist, this I got XYZ going on, and therapist will just say, well, it's called this. And you go, and
Mhm.
that's what the Mind, Body, Energy, and Balance podcast is as well.
Mhm.
We talk about some real things happening in real time in real life. And once you get to see it from the other side of the coin, you then can attach yourself to that situation and make improvements. A lot
Mhm.
of times, like you said, when you play the blame game, you're not necessarily thinking of ways of self improvement, because blame game means it's not my fault. I will do nothing to fix this. You'll fix it
That's
most
right.
times.
Yep.
But it's okay to go, you owe me. Doesn't matter who it is. You owe me.
Mhm.
But you know what?
Mhm.
I'm still going to get mine. I'm healthy enough,
Mhm.
smart enough, intelligent. I still got all the tools that it takes to get it done myself. And
Mhm.
if they want to drop off some of that 70 trillion or whatever it was, I'll take that too. Until then,
Right. Right.
but until
So,
then, I'm
mhm.
get mine.
That's right. That's right. Well said. All right, y'all. Till next time. Peace and love.